All right, so turn your first book that we use this semester, get that out and turn to page 328. We're going to practice doing sight reading through this with hands separate. So this kind of sums up what we've been doing this semester in terms of your hands are doing quite a few individual things, and it's a little bit tougher than most of the pieces we've done. It's definitely easier than that Schubert Ecossaise or whatever it was, no one could pronounce it. But it's in a nice easy key. We're in C major. So let's try sight reading through the right hand. Watch out for the triplets versus the eighth notes. Remember, triplets are triplet, triplet, versus eighth notes are 1 and 2. So make sure that you make that distinction between, but let's go pretty slow. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, all right, so the biggest trick, of course, here, I would suggest using the fingerings that they ask for sometimes. So sometimes you'll be switching, like for example, in measure 3, 8 to 4, you'll be switching from 1 to 4. Because the right hand is so busy, the more accurate you can make that fingering, the easier it's going to be on you. Okay? All right, so I will let you, after we go through this, I will let you go to practice. Let's do the left hand, and then we'll go from there. In the left hand, what I would do, unless you know this right off the bat, go to measure 16. That first note right there is a treble G. So you're actually going to be way up there. An easier way to tell this is to go to that next measure. You know what that middle C is, and then work your way backwards up from there. So if you're not quite sure and it's really hard to tell, especially because the measure right before it, that note is a little bit far away from it, see if you can find some sort of context clues to help you figure that out. Okay? Thankfully, the left hand is a little bit easier than the right hand. So, all right, so let's try the left hand very slowly. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 2, 2. In this rest, find that G. The biggest thing that I can suggest for this piece is doing a lot of hands separate work, okay? Mainly just making sure that each hand knows exactly what it's doing. With the hands together part, when you start having quarter notes in your left hand starting at measure 4, I would line up, if you have a little bit of trouble remembering this, where the hands line up so that you know exactly where things are going to be. Okay? We're going to do a very deathly slow playing hands together, but what I want you to do, pause the video, work on this until you feel comfortable. Even if it's in the next week, we're in week 15, come back to this video and see if you can play this with me to check, okay? Okay, all right. And if you are ready, you are brave. So, 1, 2, ready. Okay, all right. If you're not quite there yet, that is totally fine. You guys can take it a little bit slower with this. This one's a slight bit more difficult in terms of busyness, so I'm not too concerned about the speed. Mainly, I'm just concerned about you taking a speed, making sure that you're not hesitating every other measure to try to fix notes and everything. Okay? All right, so come back to this video as much as you want to do playthroughs with me. And with that being said, let's move on to the score reading.